Welcome everybody. Today I have a special video for you. This is actually probably more useful if you are patient enough to pay attention to it and kind of watch the video all the way through if you're able to, because I'm going to talk about how to do a job search and how you can track your progress on LinkedIn. I've learned these stats and processes over the last 8 years while I look for different jobs at different roles. I can have a feel for how many hits you should get and how that translates into interviews and offers and whatnot. So I'm going to go through the process so that you have a good idea of where you are in the process and whether or not you're on the right track in terms of hits and interviews and whatnot, right? I really think this is very useful insight based on my experience in the last 7, 8 years. All right, let's get started. So first of all, if let's pretend for a second that I am a recruiter and I am looking for a DevOps engineer, right? So I do a search for a DevOps engineer. Right? And in that case, it could be SRE as well or site level engineering. Either way, you see if I press on people, I get 431,000 hits. As you can see right off the bat, you don't have a good shot at being looked at by a recruiter. So let's say that the recruiter is in Los Angeles, so that should narrow it down. If I do that, I'm down to 3,500 people who are here. Now, recruiters have different windows where they can filter by whether or not you're open to work or not. And some of the time we're not even open officially on LinkedIn, so it doesn't really matter, right? So my point I'm trying to make, first point I'm trying to make today is you have to be visible to the recruiters because you have to be one of the first 40, 50 profiles in this search. So let's say that this recruiter is looking for some Kubernetes experience, right? So what if we did this? Does that help at all? Kubernetes, right? Even then, in Los Angeles area alone, we're looking at 900 people. So you don't have a good chance of getting looked at by a recruiter. All right. So that's the first point I'm trying to make. So what do we do about that? So first of all, in the profile, um, if we have certifications, right, that helps a lot. So let's randomly look at somebody's profile here, right? And I'm looking through here, and if I'm a recruiter, I may not know a whole lot about the technology behind this, right? So if I have a certification or experience, then it will catch my eyes, right? So then this person has a much better chance of getting looked at um, by the recruiter than other people. So let's go back here, and I want to add another word here: certified. See does. So now we're down to 300 plus, right? You're still a lot of numbers, but you see what's going to happen is if the person is looking for somebody who has certification, um, everybody else, the other 600 plus, are not going to be looked at, right? So just to give you some idea about what it takes to get noticed by a recruiter. When you're not looking actively, no big deal. When you're looking actively, these things really matter because you want your profile to be hit by the recruiter so you get the first phone screening and whatnot. So, all right, so that's the first point I'm trying to make, that there's tons of people in your field, in your city that might be open to new jobs, and you have to stand out. So that's the first thing now. So back to profile now. If I go back to my profile here, go back to my own profile, um, how many hits am I getting? So I have a bunch of followers, and because so let's go back here now. Um, I have last 90 days, I got 700 plus views of my profile because I'm active and whatnot, right? But in your case, how many do you need? That's the question we're trying to answer today, right? So let's go back to my notes here. Uh, so how many messages do you get a week? So let's say that for every message that you get on your inbox on LinkedIn, I would guess that only about one third are good opportunities that match your profile, match what you want, that kind of thing. So, so that's one stat, right? Second, then, how many? So when somebody came to you through messaging, you replied back, how many of them will actually come back to you and say, okay, yeah, that looks, you look good. Could you please give me a resume or whatever the next step is? I want to talk to you. I want to say that's only 60% of the people that you reach out to or you respond to. I think maybe only 2/3 of them will actually talk to you, right? So that's that. Because what I'm going to do today is after I go through all this, I'm going to reverse track and give you some numbers that you need to be aware of. All right, so once you've talked to a recruiter, the chances of getting to talk to a hiring manager is pretty high because recruiters by this time have narrowed down to you and they're actually evaluated upon how many people they have put up in front of the hiring manager, right? So I think you have a pretty good chance, 80 to 90% chance of talking to a hiring manager once you've talked to an internal recruiter. There's a difference. If it's an external recruiter from some staffing agency, then your chance is not even 10%, right? So let's assume for a second there's an internal recruiters, some recruiters sitting as part of the company. Now you have 90% chance. Once you've talked to your hiring manager, your chance is probably about 50-50 whether or not you go to the next round. After that, there will be probably two rounds of technical interview. Maybe one is system design, maybe one is just question and answer, or maybe one is coding, whatnot. So there's be about 2 rounds of interviews with a senior DevOps slash SRE person to go through. In those interviews, you probably have somewhere between 20 to 40% chance of succeeding. Once you've done that, that's your main, really, that's the main hurdle to go and get over. Once you've done that, then you'll probably talk to a director or vice president. There, the chances of you being rejected by a vice president or a director after you've gone through these 3 rounds is pretty low. So you probably have a good 80 to 90% chance of making it through. All right. So then after that, sometimes the hiring manager wants to take a second look at you. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But at this top point, you're really looking at an offer. So now we're going to do a backtrack of the calculations, right? And to see where you land. So for you to get one offer, you need how many profile hits do you need? So one offer equals um, maybe 5 to 15 hiring manager interviews. And then that translates into about 20 recruiter interviews, internal recruiter interviews, right? That means about 30 recruiters have to ping back to you because remember, 2/3 of them will actually talk to you, right? That means you need 30 good opportunities in your inbox for you to get one offer, right? Generally speaking, broadly speaking, right? That means you need a good 60 to 90 hits on your inbox before you get your first offer, right? That's in messages in your inbox, right? Now, how does that number stack up against profiles on your views? Because people come to your profile for different reasons. Not all of them are recruiters. Not all of them are looking for a job to fill. Maybe somebody likes your profile for a different reason. But I think when you're actively looking, right, um, I'm guessing that you need somewhere between 300 to 600 views on your profile for you to get 60 to 90 messages on your inbox. So let's be optimistic, right? Even if you're optimistic and you're looking at least 300 views on your profile. Now, unfortunately, LinkedIn doesn't tell you how many profile views you got unless you pay them extra money. So that's kind of a bummer. But anyway, that's the kind of things you're looking at. So even if you're not paying for LinkedIn Premium, you're just looking at how many inbox hits you're getting, right? You're looking at 60 to 90 inbox hits for one offer, right? So what that means to be now I'm going to try and relate this back to what I was saying earlier. On your profile, when I do a search for a DevOps engineer, let's just say senior even. Let's just say senior and DevOps and engineer and certified, right? You click on people, and we're looking at 86,000 people. Now we narrow it down to Los Angeles. Now we're still looking at 800 plus people, right? So let's take out the senior part, and that should get us back to 300 level. Now the numbers are all messed up. Anyhow, so like I said earlier, that you're looking at if I'm doing a search in city, I'm looking at 300 certified DevOps engineers, right? Maybe one fourth of them are actually looking for jobs. But either way, you're competing with another 100, engineers in your city, right? When you're doing that, you have to stand out. Now, how do you stand out? I highly recommend that you go on YouTube and you search for this. You search for LinkedIn recruiter because their view into the software is very different than yours, right? So then you will see that what they look for is whether or not they're open to work, whether or not their current job title matches, how many years of experience you have, right? Those are the things they actually match before they get to you. And one of the key things they look at is the second thing that pops up on their screen, which is how likely is this person is to respond? How likely are you to respond? Are you to respond to the recruiter if he sent you a message, he or she sent you a message, right? Um, that depends on on LinkedIn's algorithm, which depends on how active you are on LinkedIn, how much you respond back to other people who message you, how many posts you do, so on and so forth, right? So you have to be active on LinkedIn, and a certification definitely helps. An experience that definitely helps, right? The keywords that the recruiter is searching for, they help. You look at all those four or five main things when you're looking for a job on your profile, because that's what increases your chance of being looked at by an internal recruiter. And even after you do, you're looking at 60 to 90 hits on your inbox that would translate into your first offer, because that's how the numbers stack up in general on average, right? You may be looking at 10 hits and get an offer, or you may be looking at 200 hits and get an offer, depending on what the situation is, whether or not you match what people are needing at that time, how well you perform in the interview. But the starting point is people searching for your keywords, searching for your activity levels, searching for your current job title. They're searching for those things before they pick you among the 300 other people who are in your city with an equivalent skill set. All right, that's what it takes to go from being open on LinkedIn for a job and actually getting an offer. All right, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that because that helps me with the YouTube's algorithm on my end. All right, I hope you found this useful. I will see you next time.